Hi. I'm 25, living in my car, and I'm trying not to panic. I guess we'll get right into it. So, I've been living in my car for almost 4 months now. I've finally decided to record this video because pressures are kind of getting high. Um, because of the fact that, full transparency, I've reached my last $130. Um, I quit my job a little over a month ago. In all honesty, I thought that I had planned it just a little bit better. I'm gonna wait for just a moment. I thought I had planned it a little bit better because I had saved up some money and I thought that I'd be able to live comfortably but frugally for a couple of months. I didn't really take into consideration any unexpected expenses that would come up and did. I also thought that my drop shipping website, which has now been completed, and I've been working on since the beginning of this year. I thought that I would have been able to generate some sort of income from it. Um, but after doing a lot of research, I'm definitely understanding why it's in the state that it is in now. Dropshipping is a very time consuming and very financially draining endeavor. Unfortunately, to make money with drop shipping, from my perspective, there's a lot of money that you have to put into it, and I did kind of just give a lot of money up to advertising without doing like proper research. And now that I have done the proper research, I've kind of reached the last little bit of my finances. I'm not gonna give up on it though. Like, I'm definitely going to continually post the products that I have on my website, whether it be via like Pinterest or Instagram or just regular posting on Facebook. Um, but again, unfortunately, you do kind of have to pay for ads to get people to buy from you, and ads are pretty hefty. Um, I really do feel like panic has set in, but there's really not much that I can do that I haven't already done to minimize the impact of reaching the last little bit of my finances. I do know that there are plenty of ways to make money. I've got a Instacart Shoppers account that I've used. I've got Amazon Flex that I did for a really long time. Dashing with DoorDash, or even just donating plasma, which I do think I've decided I'm gonna do today. Initially, I had stopped donating plasma because I thought that it was causing my eczema to just inflame, and I just felt like it wasn't doing my body justice. Like, I was just very fatigued all the time or whatnot, but if it's what I gotta do to make some bread, even if it's a little bit, then I'm gonna do it. Unfortunately, the other forms of income that I mentioned prior, although I've done all of them in the past, for some reason, as of recently, they've been giving me a lot of problems, and I can definitely go into more detail about it if you're interested. You could definitely let me know. But it does feel like, and this is not to, it feels definitely feels like an excuse, but it feels like the universe is making it difficult for me to use those um outlets or those ways to make income right now. Um but again, I can go into it with more detail if that's something that's interesting. Um, because of the high level of stress that is coming or has come, starting like a few weeks ago, I've just been applying to a lot of work. Even just last week alone, I maybe applied to 15 to 20 jobs. Um, um, with things that I'm like certified for. I'm phlebotomy certified, so I applied to plenty of phlebotomy jobs, plenty of emergency technician jobs, conservation jobs or conservation work, because that's something that I'm really interested in, as well as even some AmeriCorps jobs. Even things like warehouse work or whatnot. I do still have boundaries when it comes to what I want to do. Like, I know I've got a minimum. I'm not going to go into a job that's only going to pay me $15-16. So that's why I like kind of took the barista out of there, even though there is like tips or whatnot that could be calculated. But if you're getting paid minimum wage, I just don't think that that's something that I'm going to put myself into. And to be honest, like, for a really long time, ever since we've come to the US, my mother and I have basically we've lived on the poverty line. I grew up on Section 8 and food stamps. Not even like all our food stamps either. Like, even after moving out of my mother's home and having my own apartment out here, I've made it to zero or the negatives multiple times. Living in my car, although it has been a really hard experience in some instances, I always thought that at the end of the day it was going to be okay, and that eventually, like, I'll either make it out of it, or if I have to live in my car for an extended period of time, I could definitely do it. Honestly, living in my car hasn't even been the hard part of this experience. It's been like the breakup right before transitioning into this lifestyle. That's honestly been just a lot more detrimental to my mental health, but thankfully, like, I've finally reached a point where I think I'm like officially okay. But that's just to show that, although it is a more difficult lifestyle, I've learned to adapt, whether it be figuring out how to get access to microwaves, or access to like taking showers, figuring out how I'm gonna brush my teeth before or when I wake up and before bed. Those have just been, things that I've had to like adjust to and figure out. And coming back to the fact that I've reached my last, like, I really do think it's $130. I am behind on my storage unit payment. What else? I've got a phone bill payment that's coming up next week that I'm really not sure how I'm gonna come up with it. I've got a car payment, but thankfully I won't have anything due until like July. I believe it's like 17th or 18th, just because I went ahead and paid this month in advance. So thankfully I won't have to stress about my car payment because it is pretty hefty. So hopefully by that time I'll have the money that I need to pay it. And then, you got food and gas that also come into play, and then my gym membership. Although this has been a quite excruciating experience, especially with the fact that, like, this year alone I've been sick 3 separate times, and every time I've been sick for, like, it seems to be 2 weeks or a little over 2 weeks. 2 of those times has been while I've been living in my car, and it definitely hasn't been an easy experience. But I digress. I've gotten over it, and I've definitely been taking like zinc lozenges and figuring out how to keep myself as healthy as possible, just so that I don't have to go through that again. I know that I'm not the only one who's had so many sicknesses this year, but again, just living in your car and being sick is not for the weak, and it has made this experience just a little bit more difficult. But again, we're over that. Yeah, so to be honest, I just really wanted to document my journey, especially considering the level of stress that I'm feeling internally. Like, I don't know, like, to be honest, although it's creeping up and although I'm like, honestly, like, fuck, like, I know that everything is gonna be okay. Like, regardless of everything, I know that tomorrow will come. I know that I'll do what I can to get through today. This is definitely not the mindset that I have all the time. A lot of the time, unfortunately, go into a mindset of, honestly, death would be better, or honestly, like, I just want to give up. I've thought about like what it would be like if I had to like live out on the street, and how I would have to like get through that kind of experience, or like what if my car was like taken from under me. Like, thankfully I do have people who have offered me a bed, and people have offered me a hot shower, but just being someone who grew up getting government assistance and assistance from other people, I've kind of always hated the idea of getting handouts, unfortunately. So it has manifested into me really being against receiving assistance of any sort. I do feel like I can figure this out myself, and I will eventually be okay. It is exhausting, though, to have constantly lived your life like not comfortable, like, financially, and just always having to fight a little bit for tomorrow's meal, or even just like having to work a lot just to get through the day. Like, in order for, like, whenever I was working at my job, this last one, it just felt like you're just working to no end. Like, you're working just to pay off the bills that you've got, and like maybe being able to save up enough to like go on a vacation every once in a while. But everybody that I knew was struggling financially. Like, everyone I knew was working paycheck to paycheck, and felt like the work was causing them more distress than actually like helping. And honestly, I was the same exact way, and that's why I had decided that I really do want to put my all into this drop shipping situation, and really had hope that it was gonna, just work for me. I don't know if it was blind hope, but everywhere I looked, everyone was like, yeah, like, this is the thing that worked for me. Like, this is the thing that got me out of like having to work my 9 to 5. So to a certain extent, I did just follow. But anyways, I don't want to just drag this on for too long. I definitely want to come back on here and keep sharing my experience. I've got a lot of videos from these last 4 months of this lifestyle. I've got, I've had a lot of really amazing opportunities. I've had a lot of time to be able to be outside and enjoy life much more than I would have been stuck at work from 8 to 6, freaking 5 to 6 days a week. So there's a lot of good that has come from this experience, but not really knowing this next, what's gonna happen next, has just been like a hovering gray cloud that I'm expecting to, burst at any moment and just drench me, and that is a little bit terrifying. But regardless, I'll do what I can today to make it till tomorrow. And honestly, just giving Grace the best I can. I've been, I don't know, like initially when I had recorded this yesterday, I was feeling extremely down. I was feeling extremely depressed and pretty hopeless. But I think knowing that I'm just going to go and donate today, even if it takes me 2 hours to 3 hours because I haven't been in a while, just knowing that I'm going to have some sort of income to come in, and then hopefully I'll be able to pay for some gas and get my laundry done today, I'm feeling hopeful. So I'll give myself that. Anyways, if you made it to the end, that's crazy. Thanks, I appreciate it. Again, if there's any questions or things that you kind of want to see, let me know. A lot of my videos are probably just going to be talking, but yeah, I think I'm going to try to shorten them moving forward because 16 minutes is kind of crazy. But anyways, peace. Take care.